she's upstairs and can't respond. Okay, about how far out are you? Okay, alright. Thanks. He said like 5 minutes. So he's about here.
He's told us 45 minutes 2 times in a row. So he's just been giving us.
Oh, B knows who Chris Watts is. He knows. I think he's already heard me bitch about this person before. Because I remember where it was. I think it was in the Discord main chat. I had said it before that I really do hate this dude a lot. But yeah, I think Bowser knows. He knows the Chris Watts case very well. Or I think so. I'm not gonna speak for someone, but I'm inclined to think he does. Very inclined.
False times and everything. And we know he's been lying because his stories aren't adding up.
Now, the police officer is receiving even more to build on that negative impression of Chris. Obviously, Chris's story of where Shanann and the kids could be is not adding up because he's lying and can't keep his story straight. But why has he been saying he's 5 minutes away for the past 45 minutes? It's likely because while at work, he thought of something that needed cleaning up and didn't want anyone to bust in before he was able to alter his crime scene.
I mean, I don't see anything out of place. I'm not hearing kids. I'm not hearing anything.
No, Cece. Clean up. Remember clean up?
What's Shannon's number? I don't hear the phone ring or anything.
Yeah, the neighbor has a camera system.
Mm-hmm.
See how Ben is rubbing his palms together? That's a sign of positive expectancy. And in this situation, he's expecting information from Nate's camera that will help locate Shanann and the kids.
So he's told us 3 different stories. So the neighbor over there said he has a camera.
Shannon, are you home?
This kid keeps me going.
Police department, if anyone's inside, make yourself known.
Is that airplane?
Police department, if anyone's inside, make yourself known.
Is that Bella?
Yeah, you'd think they were here, the kids or someone would respond though. You'd hear some kind of noise.
Look how cookie cutter this neighborhood looks. Like, this is like suburbia. It's fucking crazy. Like, you wouldn't even think that something like, you're like driving by and, it's like a regular old house, and without even thinking that, dang, something's as bad. I don't know. I just find that to be crazy. Like, something as bad as that happened there. It's insane. No wonder the house never sold again. That cop was loud. I was loud. Yeah.
When Chris finally gets home with the police officer standing right there, he goes to the passenger side of his truck to get something? The officer must be thinking she could be dying in there. Why didn't you just quickly hit the button to open the garage and sprint into the house to find out if your family's okay?
I'm here. Hang on. Yeah, get me on the phone. Okay, get Matt on the phone.
Scott, how you doing?
How's it going?
So this is the only vehicle she would have?
Only one that, yeah.
She would drive? Okay.
More diddle-dallying. Instead of running into the house, he goes into his wife's car to either put something into her car or take something out. Regardless, it's very likely he did something that he thinks will help cover his tracks or make it appear he's less guilty.
There's no way you can look for the day during the daytime.
Now, neighbor Nate is beginning to search through his security camera footage. Everything's already headed downhill for Chris Watts.
Chris is in the house. We're standing outside the kitchen box. Can we go in the house?
Chris was alone in the house for 1 minute and 15 seconds. I think it's safe to say that he wasn't looking under the beds for his family during that time.
I mean, that's up to him. It's his house. If you guys...
Nikki, I'm giving you permission to walk in my daughter's house.
Mind if I come in, Chris? Okay. You checked upstairs? She's not there? I just want to make sure she's not passed out somewhere. You mind if I look around?
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks.
Upstairs is when Chris's performance really begins.
I mean, at this point, if I were the officer, my spidey senses would have already been tingling a very long time ago. I mean, it would have. It's a pretty big house, yeah. It would have already started the moment that he took his time to get to the house. But as soon as he arrived and went straight to the SUV, and then, I mean, think about it. 1 minute and 15 seconds may not seem much, but when you're like, I mean, when you have a lot of pressure on you or you're stressed, a minute is it seems like it's it feels like a long time. When it comes to a crime, a minute can mean a lot, because you can do, you can't, like, I don't think you can, like, do, like, much, but in a minute you can look through things. You can kind of check to see if everything's okay. It's more than enough time to make it extremely suspicious. Yeah, when someone is dying, a minute is a long time. If you want to compare it to that. Yeah. I think you can only, like, if you were to burn yourself, like, you can only, there's only a certain amount of time you can last before it starts hurting. So, and it's a lot less than a minute. So a minute is, it's a long time depending on the situation. In this case, it's an extremely long time. Like, what are you doing for a minute and 15 seconds? Like, again, if I were the officer, my spidey senses would have already been tingling a long time ago. Let's see if it tingles even more now.
Oh. Well,
All the girls' blankies are gone.
um,
Their blankies they sleep with, they don't leave anywhere without them.
good.
What you'll notice is how Chris throws in diversion evidence and diversion dialogue, which he thinks will help divert people from looking at him as suspect number one and start to believe the ridiculous story that his family just vanished.
Nothing else appears to be missing, though. Just stuff you'd take for a quick trip.
Her phone's here? Her phone's here.
Does she work?
Yeah, she works from home.
Oh, from home?
See how Nicole just flailed her left hand right after she touched Shanann's phone? It was as if Shanann's phone burnt her hand. It's because touching Shanann's phone made the likelihood that Shanann is in danger very real, and it was very emotionally painful for her to touch it.
She works, this is her lifeline.
It was shut down?
She's in the flat.
The officer knows people just don't shut down their phones in their own home. This is adding to the officer's suspicion of Chris.
You know her passcode?
I don't know her passcode.
It used to be 2385, but now it's 6 digits.
It's the baby's due date.
Now, the officer is asking him questions to understand whether he has a decent alibi to decide Chris's level of involvement in all of this.
And then she flew out to Arizona Friday morning, and then she got back last night. About 2 a.m. The flight got delayed. She left about 11. She got here at 2.
Okay.
And and I went to work this morning about 5:15, 5:30.
Do you guys notice his demeanor? I mean, this is not the way someone would react if you couldn't, like, if your wife and kids were not home and were like missing and they weren't picked up. Like, if you found your wife's phone at your house, in the house that you have, and she's not there and your kids are not there either, like, I'm pretty sure this isn't the reaction that you would like. His whole demeanor already, and the way he's carrying himself, it's just no panic at all. I mean, the way he grabbed the phone, the explanation she gave in regards to the explanation that the narrator gave in regards to her best friend when she touches the phone, and he just grabs the phone, and it doesn't seem like this person he doesn't care. This person doesn't care at all. This is cold-blooded, master level. Like, it's crazy how cold-blooded this person is. But you can tell just by his body language. It's just red flags all over the place. Unbelievable.
Notice the officer's left hand. It's up to his face, and it's up to his face a lot here on out. But we don't know where it is exactly on his face. If his hand is on his cheek or high chin area, it's a sign of evaluation. If it's on his chin, it's decision. But if it's covering his mouth, it's likely he thinks Chris is lying. We sometimes cover our mouths when we don't like what's coming out of someone else's. Have you ever covered your mouth when someone else told you bad news?
Can you look at your camera to see from your security system to see when she left?
Let's say left out the front door.
Very typical of someone who's guilty. Chris is coming across as very negative and not at all proactive. When we lose something or someone we really want back, even long shot ideas always seem worthwhile trying. Chris is hardly giving any ideas or jumping on any reasonable suggestions.
Where do you get to go to school at?
Primrose and Mr. Ridge.
This could have been a little test thrown at Chris by the officer. He may have wanted to see if Chris would jump on the idea to call the school because they were originally supposed to go to school that day.
I have no clue at whatsoever why she wouldn't take her cell phone.
Notice Chris and Nicole are both acting scared and nervous with a lot of pacing around and nervous fidgeting. But there's a huge difference between the two. Chris's nervousness is directed inward for himself because he's nervous he'll get caught. Nicole's nervousness is directed outward because her friend appears to be in danger.
I'm not lost. I don't know where she's at, where the kids are at.
That's his line. If he were a pull-string doll, that's what he would say.
I have no inclination of where they're at right now. I have no idea where they went. I have no inclination of where she is. I don't have no inclination of where she is.
I don't know if they'll mention it in this video, but that is an interview that he gave the day after he reported. The day after this, he gave an interview to TV stations, and I mean, it's like, my dude, why? See, you could obviously tell. It's like, yep, guilty. There was no, you couldn't even question it. Extremely guilty. You can kind of tell in that part. I'm not sure if they'll show the interview here, but if they don't, check it out. It's all over YouTube as well, so you can see it. It's really interesting. But the question is, like, why put yourself into that situation? He's a psychopath. Like, he's a narcissistic socio-psychopath. I'm not even sure if that's a thing, but if it's not, I just made it up because it seems kind of fitting for him because there's just so many things. On top of that, he's a cold-blooded murderer. No remorse at all. Not one bit, innate.
Immediately, she looks at Officer Coonrod in a look of shock realization that Chris must be involved. I'm sure the officer gave Nicole a similar look, but more muted. Nicole holds her chin while looking at Chris